Let's bring our good friend. Hey, how about this, Jake? It's like the old days, man. We got a World Series champion and we got an Olympic gold medalist on the show in the same day. So let's bring our good friend from Baltimore in, Bernard Hollywood Williams. How you doing, good sir?
B-Dub.
Great talking to you, man.
Y'all.
How's my family?
Man, I don't want to put too much business on the radio, but they're good.
I will just say this. I see you enjoying your Father's Day present, man. And listen, I got to wonder, is that going to affect the speed diet? Because I've seen chicken, I've seen burgers, I think I've seen ribs. It's been every night with that grill, man, enjoying your Father's Day present early.
Man, I'm so addicted to grilling food now. I just grilled some shrimp for the first time last night.
How did it go?
It went great. So far, I haven't burnt anything up. I keep everything on the low fire, and I use my seasonings, and I use the good YouTube tutorials and stuff, all the recipes you want out there.
You know, it's good to make use of your time in positive ways while you're staying at home and while you're quarantined. You can find new hobbies, find new skills. You can even get some grill advice. I'll tell you one of the things that I've been doing. I figured out how to do this, by the way. This Lance Armstrong documentary, it's a hard watch because the ego of Lance Armstrong will get to you. It's just, this guy is just very full of himself, didn't learn a dang thing from any of his mistakes. The most telling part about it is he's at the end of the first episode. I'm having to separate these and do them in half episodes at a time, not due to length, but just because at a certain point I can't take this guy anymore. And I get to the end of the first episode, and they ask the question. He's got a son who's now a college football player at Rice. They ask him, "Would you ever allow your son to take performance-enhancing drugs?" And he quickly answers, as you would expect, no. He's in college. He's an amateur athlete. But if you ever were to make it to the NFL, it would be a conversation. And I'm sitting here going, are you serious with your own kid?
Yeah, because that's what those guys. Yeah, but nobody want to talk about that. That's what a lot of those guys are doing.
I hear you there. And I wanted to get into that with you. I wanted to get in this with you because with all of that said, and with kind of this going against the sandpaper I've been feeling with Lance Armstrong, I feel like after watching this, I can defend him a little bit. When he enters the sport of cycling, he's 19, 20, 21 years old, enters the sport of cycling, doping and cheating and taking substances was prevalent throughout the sport. Basically, it was track and field in the early 80s. We can both admit there was a lot of that going on, right?
Like track and field now.
Or track and field now, even more so. Yeah, I was trying to give you some benefit and saying maybe some of that's cooled down. I know the 80s were a wild, wild west time for track, so I was trying to go there.
See, that's the thing. And that's the thing with sports. Like, we think it cooled down because we didn't hear about it. Just like whenever a police murder happens, we think it cooled down. But it's just people have phones, cell phones now. It's more prevalent. But no, it's the same way they was doing it in the 80s, in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, the game, only thing changes the players, man.
Yeah. So my defense for him, like I was saying, though, is that, when he first comes into the sport, 19, 20, 21, it's very prevalent. And that's how he essentially gets into this. And he's essentially doing something. Is it cheating if everyone is doing it? If everyone in the race is taking a substance, is it an unfair advantage or are you just holding par? Is kind of the first question I have for this. So then 1996, he gets diagnosed with cancer. And it kind of reminded me of Michael Jordan. And the midway through of his NBA career, he kind of gets this 2-year break. In the middle of Lance Armstrong's racing career, he gets this 2-year break. And break's the wrong word for it because he's fighting cancer in that time. But 1998 happens, and that's when you get all the big scandal in the world of cycling at the Tour de France, and teams are being arrested, and teams are being thrown off the tour, and teams are escaping in the night. You saw this in the documentary. But while that happened, Lance wasn't there. Lance was battling cancer. And so while we've come to find out that the sport, like you said, Bernard, didn't change in 1999. However, the perception was that it did change. However, now when Lance comes back in 1999, he wasn't there to see the sport change because he was battling cancer. So all he essentially did is picked up where he left off. He picked up where he left off when this was prevalent in the sport. And I can kind of understand how his mind got there. I can defend that. How about you?
No, I mean, once you're doing something and, and that's what you do. Because even, let's just say if everybody is on it, right? It's an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But for the fans who are watching in the world who think these are the best bodies and the cleanest and the purest and they tell you to diet, to the fans, who's thinking that these people are all natural, we're the ones that's fooled.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones. They say you can fool the fans, but the fans ain't fools. Because eventually when the truth comes out, then we realize, oh, you wasn't that pure. They put you on the Wheaties box and you was on steroids. And it's been going that way for, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 years now.
You can fool them perhaps in the moment. You can fool them on the day of the event. But as, again, you see with Lance Armstrong, it didn't come out at the time that he was winning these events.
But you know why? But you know why they can fool them? Because the fans, again, they want to see world records broken.
Yeah. We want to see the accomplishments. I get that. Bernard, always appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much for calling in from Baltimore. Hope to talk to you again tomorrow. Stay with us. Come back with the morning show, the Ticket Sports Network, 100.3, 97.1.